I've watched a lot of TV this year. Here's everything I've watched and what you should watch.
The Midnight Club. The show is set at a hospice for terminally ill young adults, in which 8 patients come together every night at midnight to tell each other stories and make a pact that the next one of them to die will give the group a sign from the beyond. I really enjoyed this series. It's scary and it's gut-wrenching. Even though the show came out in 2022, this was actually the final show of Mike Flanagan's I had left to watch out of his collection on Netflix, and I did thoroughly enjoy it. However, the show creator, Mike Flanagan, planned for a season 2 of the show, which obviously didn't happen, so there were some loose ends to the story. But Flanagan did let fans know the plot of season 2 in a social media post. I would still recommend you to watch the show and certainly urge you after to read Flanagan's plans for season 2. However, if you want something wrapped up completely, then I'll probably give this a skip. Fool Me Once. The show centres around a widowed mum called Maya, who was disturbed by an image of her dead husband captured on a toddler's nanny cam. This was #1 in the UK for quite a while. It's based on one of Harlan Coben's novels, and in my opinion, this series is not the best novel to show adaptation featuring one of his novels. The show was okay, but it could have certainly been more. If you have a bit of spare time and don't know what to watch, I'd give it a go. However, if you're only here for the best of the best, I'd give this a skip.
Unbelievable. This show is unfortunately based on a true story about a teenager who is getting charged with lying about being raped, but 2 detectives follow the path to uncovering the truth about what really happened. This show is great in my opinion, and was hard to stop watching until I got to the very end. I have to mention the acting in this show. It was fantastic. The show used very little fictional padding and kept the story true to what it was, which in part helped produce such brilliant, emotionally raw acting performances from the cast. For me, this is a must watch. Euphoria is a look at the life for a group of high school students as they grapple with the issues of drugs, sex and violence. And who hasn't seen this show? This show is a lot, but to be fair, it's great. The second season is certainly weaker in my opinion, but it's still very good. I think one of the most impressive aspects about this show is the cinematography. I honestly think it's some of the best I've seen. Additionally, the acting in this show from the whole cast is exceptional. There's no question it's a hard watch at times due to the great acting performances. But that said, I would still definitely recommend for you to watch this show. American Nightmare. After a harrowing home invasion and kidnapping in 2015, a couple is accused of staging the ordeal when the woman reappears in this true crime docuseries. This was a really intriguing watch, definitely something different to what I would usually watch, but I really enjoyed this documentary. It gave a really good insight into how these kinds of cases are treated by the authorities, and how the victims deal with the media coverage and the trauma alone from the situation. If you enjoy watching documentaries, I'd definitely give this a watch. Haunt. On Halloween, a group of friends encounter an extreme haunted house that promises to feed on their darkest fears. The night turns deadly as they come to the horrifying realization that some nightmares are real. I'll keep this one simple. This movie isn't bad, but it's not great either. But if you're bored on the run up to Halloween, I'd give it a watch, as one thing it does get right is the gore. Stay close. The lives of a photojournalist, a mum, and a homicidal detective are disturbed by a terrible event from the past. This was a very easy binge watch. You didn't need to work hard to understand what was happening. However, as this show is a whodunit, if you want to try and focus, obviously you can try and guess who the culprit is. This was another show based on one of Harlan Coben's novels, and I certainly enjoyed this adaptation more. One thing I love about these adaptations is that by the end, they're completely wrapped up, with no loose ends to the story. One day, after his teenage daughter goes missing, a widowed surgeon begins uncovering dark secrets of the people closest to him. Guess what? This is another show adaptation of one of Harlan Coben's novels. And to date, this is my favourite one. The story in the show is certainly stronger than the others produced, which helped the actors give better performances due to the scripts being better. Again, this show was completely wrapped up at the end, so it's a very easy binge. I'll give this show a watch. Deadwater Fell. When a seemingly perfect and happy family is murdered by someone they knew and trusted, cracks appear on the surface of a supposedly idyllic community. I don't know what was wrong with this show. Initially, it was the cast list that drew me in to watch this show. However, the story is weak and pretty boring, and I was disappointed with the ending. I think one of the only positives I can find is that this was only 4 episodes, so it doesn't really waste that much of your time. I wouldn't bother watching this show. Free Body Problem. The show starts off with 2 main storylines. One set in 1960s China and the other in modern day London. As each episode unfolds, more questions are raised about what is happening in the real world. I actually made a YouTube short about this, and if you've seen that, then you know that I like this show. I was intrigued and gripped from the first episode, and considering I'm not a huge fan of the sci-fi genre, I really enjoyed this show, and I hope it gets renewed for a season 2. The only disadvantage of the show is obviously it doesn't wrap up in one season. However, that was probably to be expected, as this show is based on a book series with multiple books. If you enjoy sci-fi, this show is definitely for you. Damsel. A dutiful damsel agrees to marry a handsome prince, only to find the royal family has recruited her as a sacrifice to repay an ancient debt. And now she must escape. And that's it. The whole 1 hour and 50-minute movie is Millie Bobby Brown escaping from this cave. Don't get me wrong, the damsel not needing to be saved message is good, but it just doesn't make for a captivating movie. It's boring, predictable, and it felt like I was watching a movie that was made for children. You can tell Netflix spent a lot of money on the visuals, as they are impressive, but it's a shame that they've gone to waste with such a poor movie in my opinion. So, hopefully after watching you found something to watch this month. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing, it would really help out. Also, if you have any show recommendations that you think I'd enjoy, let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching.